I met a gypsy.
One thing that probably cannot be understated, like we can get into all the athlete stuff later, but you've really been like a powerhouse of brand deals, collabs, content, like way before it was quote unquote normal and like basically required. Like you really have been nailing that for a very long time.
Yeah, pre social media, I guess, pre when it was cool to self promote. Like, I copped a lot of slack being that young girl growing up as BMX bandit, self promoting
Really?
herself, having her own website, like breaking the mold, having that unit merch deal when I was 16 years old at the BMX track and selling it. Like, yeah, it wasn't easy. And it was definitely like, I had even federations like I was cycling being like, why do you have your own website? Like, your bio's on our website. Like, it was just constantly
Yeah.
breaking the mold. As I said, it wasn't heard of. So yeah, I think going back to the original days, like my dad, he's in IT, and he was like, if you're gonna make a career out of being a BMX bandit, like you gotta learn the business side. And I think having him and other mentors around me that really guided me, like one of my mentors, Tim Chad, when I was still in school, he would like help me with, like, I'd get home from school and be like, can you add 200 people on LinkedIn today? Can you,
Huh.
like, here's a template on, like, this is how you write an email to a sponsor. It was just like framework of like, let's just dive into the hustle. Let's make a template on, back then it was like before even Photoshop and before all these MailChimps and before all these EDM things came out. It was like, we were just like winging it. We were going, let's make our own template. Let's communicate with sponsors this way. It was like, when you used to like max out the emails and things like that, you'd send it off. So I think having those really good people and mentors and everything, like that was the foundation that got me into this hustle and started getting these brand deals, because ultimately, like, it was really hard to be what you couldn't see. And I couldn't see that
Mm.
future of a female making a career out of this sport. So that's been like my big passion of when Lane Beachley looked after me through her scholarship foundation and said, I believe in you. Like, I'm a 7-time world champion, but like you're gonna surpass that, and I believe in you. I'm here for you. That obviously made me go, all right, well, like, what's my influence going to be in the sport, and how can I set up Ignite and scholarships and give back and kind of lead from the bench, as well as like building the identity of the sport, because the identity of BMX needed to grow to even get on that mainstream platform. So I had, media liaisons that when I like won a World Cup overseas, they were like driving that content when the footy show was on, and when, everything was going on to like Fox Sport on a Monday. She was packaging that content to say like, Caroline Buchanan just won a World Cup in Manchester. So it was all so formulated and effort driven, because we knew, hey, I'm trying to make a career out of something that doesn't exist. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
find a pathway from a sport that doesn't have mainstream identity. But, I really want to be that Nutrigrain girl. I really want to be the face of Boost Mobile. I really want to have a 17-year contract with Oakley. Like, this is the future. So, like, what do you need to do? And fortunate that I just got some amazing people around me. And, I spent the first 8 years of my professional career really not making a solid income. I was just investing everything back into me as that personal brand. Get a bit of capital, put it back into a global TV series, take a risk. This is all my money, 30 grand, let's go, IMG. Like, let's capture a whole World Cup series. Let's get it onto KLM United, Qantas, all these airways, in-flight entertainment. Like, let's get a few sponsors like Subaru and people behind it. No idea if it's going to pay off, but it all does. Like, as I said, you got to take those risks. You got to lean in, and the effort that I've put back into myself as that brand, the effort I've put into raising the identity of the sport, has now led to, like, awesomely, a really cool career pathway for women and men growing up here in Australia to do BMX and mountain biking and have partnership deals with brands. And I guess now they can see, because I couldn't see what I wanted to be, but they can see the opportunities that are out there.
It's honestly so cool. Like, you deserve a lot of credit for that. Like, I mean, yeah, I've known you for a very long time, and it's just you've been doing that for years and years and years and years. And it's like you do make it look very easy, but I'm sure it was not easy. Like, you literally came from nowhere with this, you know?
Yeah, I mean it's hard. Like anything, you have your days, but if you do it compounded over all those years, it makes it easier because you've already done that TV show. So now, like this next campaign's easy. It just they all grow on each other, and I think now it's like I'm really looking at it from another lens of going, where's the industry now, and how can I continue to help? Because it's a different landscape. Like what I went through is different to now what athletes today need to go through because they do have technology and social media and it is very different. And I think brands' expectations are different and it's a lot more saturated market. So I think I'm now looking at it from that perspective of going like, oh, like online masterclasses and like how can I make this potentially online to framework an opportunity for the future 10-year-old skateboarder or the 13-year-old cricket girl in Australia to be able to go, all right, I'm going to buy Caroline Buchanan's program and this is a roadmap and like, hey, here's a Canva template on your resume. Hey, here's how to write an email. You know, just the basics like hustle, brand reach out, the focus boards, the, you know, everything that goes into it to manage being a professional athlete. I think, yeah, throwing it out there, holding myself accountable, like I think that's probably something that I definitely want to do over the next like 6 to 12 months because I think it's the future.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.